On today's show, it's game day. We've got a full preview ahead of the Buffalo Sabres visit to take on the Ottawa Senators.
And Josh Norris makes his visit for the first time to the Canadian Tire Center. How can the Sens stay hot into the holiday break?
This is Brady Tkachuk, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
Your Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome. You are locked on to the Ottawa Senators. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Piller, and today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your live bets all season long. Today is Tuesday, December 23rd, and Pilsy, the two hottest teams in the Eastern Conference, Buffalo 6 straight wins, Ottawa 4 straight wins. They're going head-to-head tonight.
Yeah, the matchup everybody in the hockey world has circled on their calendar. Sens, Sabres in Ottawa. It's going to be absolutely massive. But in all seriousness, for both of these fan bases, this is a big game. I mean, you might think the Buffalo Sabres, they're usually at the bottom of the standings. Like, you don't have to worry about them. No, Sens fans are well aware what this Buffalo Sabres team can do. We've struggled up against them in the recent past, and Sabres are on a 6-game winning streak. Now, the Sens on a 4-game winning streak, not quite as good as 6, but both of these teams looking to stay hot going into the holiday break.
So funny. I just stumbled upon this on Twitter from 23 Sabres. Ladies and gentlemen, the most anticipated game of the NHL season is tonight. Sens versus Sabres. Which team will finish as a bigger disappointment? Be there or be square. That is almost 2 years ago to the day. But times are changing. And the Sabres are an exciting team. We just looked through their lineup, and the full previews coming up in the next couple segments where they've got a lot of young first, second round talent that goes along with these Josh Norrises, Tage Thompsons, Alex Tuch. They've got some great offensive weapons, plus the King Daddy Topper, their captain, Rasmus Dahlin, who Sabres fans, I'm sure, think is the best defenseman in the division. And Senators fans are looking at Jake Sanderson saying, no, we like our guy better. But you can see why Rasmus Dahlin is such a well-respected player around the league. He plays hard, physical, and he can put up a ton of points too. So we've got them both featured in our game day preview photo here. The Sabres, they're up to 17, 14, and 4. They're averaging just over 3 goals a game. They're almost allowing 3.5 goals a game, just over 3.25. That has come down mightily during this 6-game win streak, where they have the lowest goals against average in the National Hockey League. They've got a slightly higher team save percentage for the season than Ottawa. Ottawa's power play just dominant, tied for third in the National Hockey League right now. Buffalo's clicking at just over 20%, but Buffalo has the best penalty kill in the National Hockey League, clicking at 85%. In the faceoff dot, this one on paper is a mismatch. The Senators are the second best team, over 56%, while the Buffalo Sabres are dead last, clicking at under 44. The Senators control more play, 5, fourth best expected goals percentage in the National Hockey League, and they also get way more shot attempts than their opposition, whereas Buffalo is just under that 50% threshold. But I almost want to say take all of Buffalo's stats, especially with a grain of salt, because their start to the season was less than ideal. They fired their general manager, so clearly internally they didn't think they were going in the right direction. And then all of a sudden, boom, they get 6 straight wins, and they're right back in the thick of the playoff race.
Yeah, I mean, that's how quickly things can change in the Eastern Conference. Like, the Sabres are only 2 points behind the Ottawa Senators and 3 points out of a playoff spot. So you might look at them lower in the standings, but they have to believe that they still have a chance here, because if they can keep this heater going, they're right in the mix. So you need the Ottawa Senators to slow down that pace. Again, we got to emphasize the Ottawa Senators' top draft pick is the Buffalo Sabres second rounder. So not only do you need to keep a division rival down, not only do you need to stop a team that for some reason has just had your number, but you also need to try to improve your own draft capital value here. And this is a big one heading into the holiday break, and both these teams want it badly.
Yeah, they really do. And I think when you look at Ottawa's struggles against Buffalo that have continued into this season, where the Senators lost the first head-to-head matchup 8-4 against the Sabres. Now, that was Levy's first start of the season. It wasn't ideal. The whole team didn't play great, though, in that one. So the Senators need to get the victory here on home ice. It's also only the second of 3 games this season. It's rare, I'd say, that you only have 3 games against a division rival. Typically, it's 4. The other one will be April 2nd. So first time for a long time for the Senators. That game will also be in Ottawa. It'll be the first then tonight of 2 games where Josh Norris can be welcomed back to the CTC. He has been to the CTC since being traded. Fans noticed that he was out there during the playoffs, probably getting his stuff, his apartment packed up, all that. But that had to be hard for him to watch after being such a big part of the Ottawa Senators for 6 seasons after being acquired in the Erik Karlsson trade. Norris, of course, was drafted by San Jose, came to Ottawa and got 3 games in right away, right out of college, then went down to Belleville. And with him and Drake Batherson, just one of the best duos that we've seen in the American Hockey League in a number of years, especially in this organization. So much fun to watch. And then kind of just carried it in, right? With Batherson, they throw Brady Tkachuk on that line, the kid line, as they were affectionately known as. I only have great memories of Josh Norris in Ottawa. It's unfortunate because without the injury history, Pillsy, he's probably still an Ottawa Senator today and for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, I mean, more than likely. I still think, even without the injury history, Ross, I like the trade that Steve Staios pulled off. I mean, you get a similar caliber player in Dylan Cousins that has similar contract but cheaper, and you end up getting that second round pick in the deal. Now, obviously, there's other pieces that caused that, but I still think it was a trade that made sense for the Sens. But Josh Norris is, Sens fans know when he's hot, he's very, very good. And we saw that in his 2021-2022 season when he got 35 goals and 16 power play goals, one of the top power play scorers in the league. But he's really slowed down on the power play. And that was another reason, Ross, why I think maybe times were changing in Ottawa, because Steve Staios wasn't noticing that same pop on the power play. So I mentioned 2021-2022, 16 power play goals. Ross, do you know how many power play goals he has since?
No, I don't.
12.
Wow.
So in 1, 2, 3, and now we're into the 4th season since then, he has 4 less power play goals than he had total in one season. So
in almost double the games, because you said 66 games there. He's played 123 total since.
Yeah, so there you go. So things certainly have changed for Josh Norris, but he's heating up now that he's comfortable in Buffalo, and it's obviously it's bittersweet, but we're going to hope that Josh Norris is not up to his old ways, and you got to be looking out for him on the power play for sure.
Yeah, so we'll omit him from a lookout player because we're going to have a conversation about him right now. And look, the Sens might not make the playoffs last year if it weren't for Josh Norris. Julio Hashem, good friend of the show, Citizen, had a great tweet that he resurfaced this morning, but he made it right after the Senators made that trade last season. And there were 3 goals in particular where if they don't happen off Josh Norris's stick, this whole season might have been different. The first one, of course, that wild 8-7 game against the LA Kings where he scores the OT winner in that one, his second goal of the game. The next one, this one was one of my favorite goals of the season, where Ottawa was playing Detroit at home, the first head-to-head meeting, and with 41 seconds left in the game, he scores to make it 2-1. And so you're not only winning, but you're keeping a division rival from getting a point. And at that time during the season, the Senators and Wings were right beside each other. So that was another huge goal. And then, of course, the biggest one, completing the comeback against the Boston Bruins when they were down 5-3. Nick Jensen makes it 5-4. And then Josh Norris. I mean, what a shooter. This guy, he can shoot with the best of them. He was wide open in the slot, and he made no mistake. So nothing but respect for Josh Norris. And Pillsy, we were talking about this before recording. There was Erik Karlsson. There was Mark Stone. There was J.G. Pajot. There was Mark Mathot. there was a lot of the guys basically from the 2017 team that all went their separate ways over the next number of years. Craig Anderson got a great ovation when he came back. There were too many tribute videos, frankly.
Yep.
And credit to the Sens marketing or media department. They did a great job on those tributes. A lot of them are available. I actually just rewatched the Mark Stone one. It was fantastically done. This is the first one since that teardown that is really going to hit in the feelings, I think. And I think Sens fans are going to be very appreciative of what number 9, Noof, did for this organization.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he was such a big part of this team, this culture, the rebuild. He was one of the pieces to build around. Brady Tkachuk's best friend. So obviously it means a lot to Brady. And we saw when Norris was traded, that was an emotional time in the locker room in Ottawa. So that's certainly something that this team doesn't take lightly. And it was tough for Josh Norris as well. Like, that was a trade that kind of blindsided him. I don't think he was ready for it. I don't know about you, Ross, but I wasn't expecting Josh Norris to get traded on that deadline. Like, it was a big move. Not because I didn't think the Sens might move on from him, just because that's not the type of move that happens at the deadline. That's typically an off-season move where you have a lot more time to move those big pieces, because Dylan Cousins coming back is a big piece as well. So crazy time for that deal to happen. But you talk about how Josh Norris, those 3 goals are key for the Ottawa Senators making the playoffs. Well, him being traded and Dylan Cousins coming back in return might have been just as important, because obviously Norris gets hurt at the end of the year. Unfortunate. But if the Ottawa Senators don't have a second line center, whether it's Norris or Cousins, that's a huge hole in their lineup, and they're not able to push down the stretch either. So just crazy how things worked out there.
Yeah, it really is. And you just want him to stay healthy and have a chance that this could be a moment for him in his career where he's really helping his team make that push, because it felt like he went through so many lows with Ottawa as a team. And then right when the Senators were getting out of it, all of a sudden he gets knocked down a couple pegs in terms of the team success that Buffalo wasn't having last year. And you just feel for guys, because obviously these guys are competitors. They want to win. And Josh Norris is the type of player that you can win with when he is healthy. And Claire Hanna just posting on social media right now, Senators on the ice for the morning skate, and everybody on the ice going up to Josh Norris, who's nice. Snuck out on the bench, and dapping up Drake Batherson. We talked about the chemistry that they had over the years. Even the coaches, Nolan Baumgartner, went up and said what up there. So it's going to be an emotional night in Ottawa. There is a game to play as well, so we'll get to lineups and keys to victory on the other side. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at Monarch. The holidays are an amazing time, but they can also get overwhelming fast. All the travel, all the gifts, all the parties, all the year-end expenses. It's easy to lose track of your money this time of year. And that's why Monarch has become such a game changer. If you want to keep your finances under control this holiday season, you got to be using Monarch. They were rated Wall Street Journal's best budgeting app of 2025. Monarch is the all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, simple dashboard. The holiday spending category can be a lifesaver. You can see exactly what's left in your gift and travel budget in real time. In minutes, you can check your net worth, link all of your accounts, and keep track of contributions before deadlines. And it's great for couples. Shared dashboard, shared goals, and fewer, wait, how much did we spend? Conversations. So don't let financial opportunities slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNHL at monarch.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarch.com with code LOCKEDONNHL.
Today's episode is also brought to you by the GLEBE Central Pub, the GCP, where the vibes are free. Go check them out at 779 Bank Street and let them know that Locked On Senators sent you. It's right in the heart of the Glebe, just steps from Lansdowne. Perfect place to catch every game every night with great food and drink. And oh yeah, the Sens Shuttle for just $18 round trip. The Sens Shuttle will take you to and from the GCP. You can leave an hour and 15 minutes before the game, and the bus will bring you right back to the pub afterwards. The GCP, The vibes are free for a reason. Live music every Saturday night with no cover ever. They've also got wing night on Monday and cheap tacos on Thursdays. There's always something going on, so check them out online, GLEBECentralPub.com. That's where you can get your shuttle tickets for the Ottawa Senators dates all December. Remaining dates, there's a couple left. Go check them out. January on deck. It's going to be a busy month and a lot of games at the CTC. So head to where the vibes are free. It's the GCP 779 Bank Street, and let them know that Locked On Senators sent you. Welcome back. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Piller, and the postcast is tonight right after the Ottawa Senators take on the Buffalo Sabres. Hey, shout out to the Everydayers in our Everydayer Club. You can join through the link below. You can either just get the pod ad-free with member-only Discord access, or you can check out the all-access tier for bonus content and a whole lot more. All right, Pills, you got to wipe one single tear out of my eye there, seeing these videos that Claire Hanna posted while you were doing the ad there. And it's like, he even put on Batherson's glove. It's like, this guy just was born to be a Senator and wear that red, black, and gold. So unfortunate, but hey, we already covered it. Everybody's happy for him that he's doing better. And he's a big part of what Buffalo is trying to build now too.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. I mean, Kevin Adams, not around anymore, but that was a big move for him to make, to acquire Josh Norris. A lot of kind of question marks around Norris's health. Is this really going to boost the team that much, making that switch? And I think this is a big opportunity for Josh Norris, and we hope he cools down tonight. But overall, all Sens fans are cheering for this guy. I mean, we got to chat with him in person days before he was traded, and he was such a good dude. So yeah, cheering for Josh Norris, just not up against the Sens.
Not tonight, Josh. The Ottawa Senators on the ice for the morning skate, and there is no change from the game against the Boston Bruins, except the fact that, well, the Ottawa Senators are actually, no, you know what? They changed this on Saturday. So I'm glad to see there are no changes. They played a great game against the Bruins. They got Tim Stützle on the top line with Brady Tkachuk and Fabian Zetterlund. You got Dylan Cousins with David Perron and Drake Batherson. You've got Ridley Gregg centering Michael Amadio and Claude Giroux, and then Stephen Halliday with Curtis McDermott and Nick Cousins. On the back end, it's Jake Sanderson with Artem Zub. This is the pair that kind of caught me off guard there for a second. They were great against the Bruins, obviously. +3 each. I love it. Thomas Chabot with Jordan Spence. Then you've got Nicholas Matenpalo with Nick Jensen. Linus Ullmark will start in goal. Pilsy, no Shane Pinto, no Lars Eller, and no Tyler Kleven on the ice for the morning skate with an extended break after tonight's game. Makes sense. Let those guys heal up, and we'll see if any of them are ready to go after the break.
Yeah, it's too bad we didn't get to see Pinto back or Kleven back or Eller back before the break, but hopefully a little rest, relaxation, time with your family, a couple days off, that really boosts the boys and we get them back sooner rather than later. But I still like how this lineup looks without them. Like, they've been able to click. I still like how all the lines shake out. So obviously you want your team as healthy as possible, but I think Thomas Chabot coming back was a big enough boost that it helps this team balance out a little bit more, even if they did lose a couple of guys since.
How do you feel about Thomas Chabot with Jordan Spence as a top 4 pair? Obviously, it was a small sample size, but they were fantastic in 13 minutes of 5-on-5 play against the Bruins.
I like it a lot. One, it moves Jensen down to that third pair, gives him a little bit of a lesser role that he needs to play. And Jordan Spence, I feel like, should be on that second pair. Like, I think that's a perfect spot for him. This guy has shown that he can play with multiple different partners. Anywhere you look, really, analytically, he's been very positive, no matter who or where he's playing with. And I think Thomas Chabot, it's good for him to have someone that he can rely on to move the puck up the ice and do those sorts of things now that Jensen kind of really isn't that guy anymore. And Jordan Spence is great at that. And Spence leads this team in plus minus, obviously plus minus not everything, but he's found ways to contribute on the ice. And I think it's good that he gets rewarded and gets to play with a solid player like Thomas Chabot.
Yeah, and they can both move the puck. So if you're in opposition, It's not like, oh, it's always going to come to Chabot on the breakout. Exactly. No, either side, you're really going to throw some wrenches in defensive coverages when you have both guys that can skate and move the puck as well as they do. Pillsy, your locked on player to watch.
My locked on player to watch is going to be David Perron. I mean, this guy's been lighting it up recently, Ross. In the last 3 games, he's got 5 points, 2 assists up against Boston, 2 goals up against Chicago, and then he had a goal.
Weekend.
Yeah, and then he had a goal up against Pittsburgh as well. So I'm going to be locked on to number 57, David Perron. I like that he's back in the top 6. He spent a little bit of time on the 4th line even. There was that one game where he only played like 8.5 minutes. So I think now that he's back in his proper role, he's been able to heat up a little bit and support guys like Cousins and Batherson. And he's been popping off on the power play as well, David Perron. So I really like seeing what he's been able to do lately after a bit of a slow start.
Yeah, I love that call there. I'm going to look in the crease today because it's the 2nd consecutive revenge game for Linus Ullmark after beating his former Bruins. He's going up against a team that drafted and brought him into the National Hockey League. And something about December for Linus Ullmark. He's 5-2 with a .912 save percentage in December after really struggling to start the season in both October and November, where he had an .874 save percentage. So he's really been able to kick it up a notch. And our good friend on Twitter, it's Tyler, put out a great stat pack yesterday where he showed that both this year and last year, man, Ullmark struggled early in the season in October and November. A .333 goals against average, an .879 save percentage, a -13 goals saved above expected. But last year, December and on, and then this year in December so far, he's 25-9-2 with a 2 goals against average and a .917 save percentage. And maybe the biggest swing, a plus 23.5 goals saved above expected. That's a 36-point swing for Linus Ullmark. So the snow's falling in Ottawa. His kids are happy. He loves Christmas, loves the new year. And if this is the Linus Ullmark we're going to get for the rest of the season, look at the Atlantic Division standings and don't even bother with the wild card. Because if they're getting great goaltending, the way that this team is analytically built at 5-on-5 and the way their power play is clicking right now, this heater could just be how good they are. It really comes down to goaltending, and they need Linus Ullmark to be that guy, so I will be locked on to him tonight.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the old saying, Ross, show me a good coach and I'll show you a good goalie. Show me a hot team and I'll show you a good goalie is kind of the similar thing, right? Like even you can look at the Buffalo Sabres. They've been getting good goaltending lately, and that's helped them along this 6-game win streak. And this is the player we knew Linus Ullmark could be, former Vezina winner. So he doesn't even need to be that level of excellent, Ross. I think he just needs to be better than average, and this team can be so successful.
And it's also worth noting, too, just as a final point on Ottawa before we move on, this is a team that had 0 players at a point per game last season. They were really strong defensively, but they chipped away with a lot of guys giving, let's say, 0.6 points per game, 0.7 points per game. It was no superstar talents that were driving the bus. Well, this season, albeit not quite at the midway mark, the Ottawa Senators have 3 players that are over a point per game. Tim Stützle with 38 points in 35 games, Batherson with 35 points in 32 games, and Brady Tkachuk has 16 points in 15 games so far this season. So just something to keep watching throughout this season is how good are Ottawa's top players. Can they match up against the top players in the Eastern Conference? They did well against David Pastrnak on Sunday. And can they do it again against one of the hottest teams, the hottest team in the National Hockey League? Mm-hmm. Maybe Colorado would have something to say about that, but Colorado doesn't even have 6 straight wins right now. The Buffalo Sabres do, and we will preview their side of things next. You're listening to Locked On Senators, your team every day.
Today's episode is brought to you by our friends over at FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment with live spreads and money lines that adjust instantly. Player props update as guys heat up. You can bet next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. Keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, and every possibility. And we're looking at the Ottawa Senators tonight in the NHL up against the Buffalo Sabres. The Sens are favorites at -156. The over-under set at 6.5 on FanDuel. So go check that out. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your live NFL and NHL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you.
Thank you for making Locked On Senators your first listen every single day. Please consider becoming a member of the Everydayers Club. Pillsy, quick note, we talked a couple weeks ago, Derek Brassard making a return to pro hockey. Well, he's out the next 4 weeks after getting injured in his debut. So a little Sens broad news there. I know, that's tough. Tough news for Derek Brassard, former teammate of Josh Norris. It really is a Sens abroad day here in the nation's capital. Reports are that the Buffalo Sabres had a full team day at Nordic Spa yesterday. Hopefully they had a little too much rest and relaxation and have the sleepies the next day. Been there, and I won't blame them if they are too. Hey, start planning your Christmas dinners early, Sabres. You might not be able to get it done in time if you don't start today. Meanwhile, Ottawa, just lock in. People will take care of that for you guys. So just play the game. Imagine going into the break on a 5-game heater, Pilsy.
Oh, it'd be so, and especially with a win at home up against a division rival that's had your number like that.
5 straight losses to Buffalo right now.
It's insane. And yeah, like the first loss of the year, 8-4, they doubled up on you. And let me remind you, Ross, that was when they debuted the red jersey on the road. Weird move, in my opinion. They're wearing the red jerseys again tonight, this time at home. And wouldn't you know it, the third and final game up against the Buffalo Sabres this season, they will be wearing the red. So the Buffalo Sabres will determine the fate of how this red jersey goes pretty much for the season. So we didn't get the win on the debut on the road. Let's rev up the red at the CTC, get it going. Yeah, and Ross, you brought your red jersey to Florida, so you can be rocking that tonight. I know you like the jersey match for all the graphics and things like that, so I'm glad we got that bit of luck for you as well.
But at least one person probably noticed that for the Senators lines, I didn't put the red jersey.
Whoa, vacation mode for Ross over here.
Nope, there's always a method to the madness. Okay. The Ottawa Senators have won 4 in a row since I put this one there, right? They had the 2 games at home, so I put the home jersey, Drake Batherson. They got a shutout win against Pittsburgh, so I kept the same photo. And then going into the weekend, we only do the first game because we don't know how the lineup's going to shake out for the second. That was the road game, and they win again with Batherson there. So you know what? With the Norris-Batherson connection and everything, I said, you know what? We're going to change the game preview one with the stats. That was red. Jake Sanderson. However, that's why we kept it with Drake Batherson there. And his old running mate is, of course, in the graphic for the Buffalo Sabres. This is how we expect them to line up tonight. Now, their morning skate is in a matter of minutes, but we wanted to get this out to you as soon as possible. Tage Thompson centering Peyton Krebs and Josh Doan, followed by Josh Norris at center between Noah Ostlund and Alex Tuck. The third line is Ryan McLeod with Zach Benson and Jack Quinn. And the fourth line is Josh Dunn between Isaac Roseanne and Beck Malenstein. On the back end, Matthias Samuelsson with Rasmus Dahlin, Owen Power with Michael Kesselring, and Bowen Byram with Metza. In goal, we expect it to be Alex Lyon or Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, as long as he's not been out at the bar enjoying a glass of wine with some of his friends, because how dare he enjoy his time outside of hockey? If you didn't see that, a couple weeks ago, a Sabres fan took a weird paparazzi style photo of Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen at the bar and be like, they just lost tonight and he's at a bar? Well, yeah, you'd be shocked to know these guys have lives too. Speaking of bars, Pillsy, one of the Josh Norris memories we didn't touch on yet. Him and Brady singing Mr. Brightside at the bar at Heart and Crown. Yeah. I mean, that's all time.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, we love these guys having a good time. Nothing wrong with having a good time.
No, there is not. Pillsy, there's nothing wrong with showing some respect to a team that doesn't get a whole lot around the National Hockey League. I like the majority of the way this team's built. Do I believe in Owen Power? No, not really. Do I love their goaltending? No, but Alex Lyon, decent stopgap, a guy you wanted Ottawa to consider if they went a veteran this offseason. And their forwards, man, just ask Belleville Senators fans about Noah Ostlund and Isaac Roseanne. They've torched those. Those two have torched the Belleville Senators, and they both deserve the call-ups that they've gotten this season. Both former first-round picks. You've got another first-round pick in Jack Quinn, another first-round pick in Zach Benson. You've got the second-round pick that was initially Ottawa's that they traded for Derek Stepan that became Josh Doan, that now is a member of the top line. He's having a great start to his career with Buffalo. Like, this is a team full of first and second round picks, and they are really kind of finding their game right now.
Yeah, definitely. And I think a lot of people had raised eyebrows at the JJ Peterka trade when the return was Kesselring and Doan. And funny enough, I think the emphasis was on Kesselring being the big part of that return. Like, everybody talked about, look, the Buffalo Sabres, they got all these big, well, I don't mean in size, but in like terms of skill, big
pedigree.
Pedigree. Thank you. Left shot guys and Darlene, Power, Byram. They're like, okay, you're set on the left side, but you got to figure it out on the right side. So Kesselring, a right-hand shot defenseman that a lot of people valued in Utah, but don't sleep on Josh Doan. He's not my lookout player, Ross, but he's got 24 points in 35 games. He's been a real nice surprise for this team. And he's played for 3 different teams in 3 different years in his career: Arizona, Utah, and then Buffalo. So he's been all over, and he's hoping that he found a good home here. But unless there's more you want to talk about Josh Doan, I have my lookout player all locked in.
11 of the 18 players expected to play for Buffalo tonight are former first-round picks.
Yeah. That's crazy. I mean, when you miss the playoffs for 14 years, that'll
and Yuri Kulich, who's hurt, was another first-round pick for them. That's wild. And then Josh Doan, second-round pick. Ryan McLeod, second-round pick. Matthias Samuelsson, second-round pick. That's a lot of high draft picks. And they're all kind of in that same 25 to 20-year-old range right now. So really interesting to follow along with that. Your lookout player is? You went with Josh Doan, right?
No. My lookup play, I just wanted to touch on that because I think a lot of people, when they saw the Peterka trade, they're like, "Oh man, Buffalo, what are you doing here?" But it's
he's got the same offensive production as Dylan Cousins this year, almost identical.
Yeah, so good player, Josh Doan. But my lookout player is the third line center, Ryan McLeod. This guy has had a decent amount of success up against the Ottawa Senators in 11 games, 11 points, tied for the most points he's got up against any team in his career. He's 3 shorthanded goals up against the Senators alone. This guy's great shorthanded, as he has 2 shorthanded goals for the Sabres this year, on the Sabres' top league leading penalty kill of 85%. So they're able to generate offense too. You got to watch out for that. And Ryan McLeod's been on a heater in this 6-game heater that the Buffalo Sabres have been on. He's got 5 points, a goal, and 4 assists. So he's really found success here. And that's a guy that I'm going to be looking out for, because that third line is sneaky good with the McLeod, with Benson and Quinn on both flanks. Like, you got McLeod, the speedy 2-way guy, Benson, the crafty playmaker, and then Quinn, a guy with an elite shot. So that's the makings of a really nice line. So I'm going to be looking out for that line as a whole, but Ryan McLeod specifically.
I'm going to just take the obvious one here. Tage Thompson is an absolute star in this league, and he's the type of player that can take over games with his shot, his creativity, and his size as well. Senators have a ton of confidence in their center depth. With Stützle, Pinto being out of lineup doesn't even phase them, right? Because you can slide Ridley Gregg in there. And, of course, former Sabre Dylan Cousins is going to be looking to put on a show with all the attention on Josh Norris today. it's like, hey, don't forget about me. Like, you didn't just give him away. You got a good player too. So I'm really going to be looking down the middle tonight. I'm glad you went with Ryan McLeod. It feeds into the point. Like, these are two really good teams with center depth down the middle. And I'm excited to see who's got the edge, not in the faceoff dot, but
I was going to say,
ironically,
the center depth looks good, but the Buffalo Sabres dead last in faceoff percentage with what it was like 43.8, something like that. And
right, but Tage Thompson's not there to win faceoffs. He's there to score.
Yeah, but when your top line isn't winning the draws in the offensive zone, like that's a huge advantage for the defending team, especially when you're a team like Ottawa that can snap those back, clear it out of the zone, and hopefully try to negate any offensive pressure that line can put on you.
Yeah, even Josh Norris under 50% in the dot this year, and was always over 50.
Yeah, first time in his career he's been under 50 this year.
Oh, fired up for this game. And like you could see these two team names, and if you're a fan of other teams, be like, oh, whatever, it's just another night. But for this to be two teams on absolute heaters going into the break, and the winning team is really going to feel good about themselves going into Christmas. Like, depending on how things go tonight, Pilsy, with the New Jersey Devils and with the New York Islanders, if the Senators win this game, they could be in a playoff spot when it comes to the break, which would be really nice.
And if the Sabres win this game, they're tied with the Sens in points if they win in regulation, that is. So, like, there's a lot on the line here that maybe doesn't seem like it on the outside looking in, but for these fan bases, this is absolutely huge. And the Sabres haven't had a good record on the road, though, Ross. I know they're on a 6-game heater, but they're 6-9-2 on the road. Sens 8-6-2, but so basically the flipped record there. So let's keep the CTC rocking, rev the red, and we gotta slay the Sabres here.
Pilsy, your key to victory for the Ottawa Senators tonight.
My key to victory is going to be using the face-off to your advantage. I think that's so important. When it's this lopsided, you got to dominate the possession, because like we said, this Sabres team, although they necessarily don't have the success in recent history, they do have really good players that can put the puck in the back of the net when they're given the opportunity. So win the face-off, dominate the puck possession part of this game, and I think you can negate a lot of that talent that they have. So that's what I'm going to be looking for, at least.
Yeah, I think for Ottawa, it's to just play a clean game. Like, I just think that this could be the type of game where they try to do too much, right? Try to put on a bit of a show here. And I think that their structure has been so crispy the last little while that they're not giving up much, that it's just about maintaining that, because the goals will come, the opportunities will come. And if the power play stays red hot as it has recently, they should be able to outscore their opponents. Of course, that's leaving out the biggest one, but I touched on that with our locked on player. Like, the Sens have to get better goaltending. You can't allow 8 goals against a team and expect to ever win. So that's how the recipe went for the first one. And it was also quick goals. So the 2 minutes after either team scores is going to be incredibly important in tonight's game. And Ottawa can't let this one get off the rails. Like, let's say they even score first, but then allow 2 quick ones. Don't allow quick goals is going to be another key to victory for me in this one. Some notes on players in their career against each other. Rasmus Dahlin has 19 points in 24 games against Ottawa. Alex Tuck has 18 points in 21 games. And Tage Thompson has 10 goals and 14 points in his career against the Ottawa Senators. You mentioned Ryan McLeod, point per game against the Sens as well. As for Senators taking on the Buffalo Sabres, Claude Giroux has 56 points in 62 career games against Buffalo. Brady Tkachuk with 15 points in 20 games. And David Perron, your lookout player, with 25 in 30. It's a 7 o'clock start. The game will be on TSN 5, and we'll be in the postcast right after tonight's game to break it all down. It's the last spin, the last 60 minutes before the Christmas break. So let's get that CTC pumping, get on the GLEBE Central Pub shuttle, and enjoy what should be a really fun, emotional, and exciting night at the Canadian Tire Center. We'll chat about it after the game. In the meantime, make sure you're subscribed wherever you get your podcasts, including on YouTube, where if you click that notification bell, you'll know exactly when we go live. Thanks so much for watching, listening, and engaging with the show. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan. And this has been another edition of the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.